Welcome. Today, we're looking at a total lifesaver for electronics hobbyists, robotics students, and, well, engineers alike. We are unlocking the secrets of the L293D chip. Now, if you've ever tried to make something actually move in the physical world using code, you know the struggle, right? Microcontrollers are absolutely brilliant, but they're also kind of fragile. The L293, it's the ultimate problem solver for that exact issue. It literally acts as the vital link between your digital logic and physical reality.
Think about this for a second. How exactly does a super delicate 5-volt microchip control a heavy-duty 36-volt motor? It's the high-stakes problem every maker faces eventually. See, your microcontroller, whether it's an Arduino or Raspberry Pi, whatever custom board you've got, it's essentially a brain. It thinks in tiny, low-voltage pulses. But physical components like motors, they need serious power. They are the muscle. If you just try to directly wire a high-current motor to those delicate logic pins, well, best-case scenario, it just doesn't work. Worst case, you totally fry your board. So we need a hero to stand between the brain and the brawn. And that is exactly where the L293D comes in.
All right, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. First, we'll meet the L293D chip itself. Number 2, we'll break down the H-bridge setup. Third, we'll define the voltage requirements. Fourth, we'll cover the built-in safeguards. And finally, we'll talk about driving your next project.
Okay, part 1. Meet the L293D chip, your microcontroller's heavy lifter. You really shouldn't look at this little 16-pin piece of silicon as just another component. It's the essential muscle that lets your code actually affect the physical world. Let's see what kind of heavy lifting it can actually do. Check out this spec straight from the datasheet. 600 milliamps. The L293D provides a continuous output current capability of 600 milliamps per driver. And in the world of hobby robotics, that is pretty massive. It basically means this chip can comfortably, continuously drive your average robot's wheels without even breaking a sweat. It takes those tiny logic signals and amplifies them into real physical torque.
But the real world isn't always smooth sailing, is it? Sometimes a wheel gets stuck in the dirt, or a mechanism just needs a huge initial kick to get moving. That is where this next number comes in, 1.2 amps. The datasheet reveals the L293D can actually handle a non-repetitive pulsed current of 1.2 amps per driver for brief microsecond bursts. So when your motor suddenly demands a massive spike in power, this chip actually has the overhead to deliver it without instantly failing on you.
And because of that really impressive current capacity, the L293D is specifically designed to drive heavy inductive loads. Now we're talking about components with coils of wire inside them that generate magnetic fields. That includes things like relays, solenoids, standard DC motors, and both unipolar and bipolar stepping motors. It's universally adaptable for high current, high voltage, positive supply applications. Basically, it takes your digital ones and zeros and translates them into serious mechanical action.
Moving right along to Section 2, the H-bridge setup explained, and how we get bidirectional control.
So, it's one thing to make a motor spin, right? But how do we make it spin backwards? How do we actually get that bidirectional control? The datasheet uses some kind of intimidating terminology here. It describes the L293D as a quadruple half-H driver, and it says each individual half-H driver is a push-pull totem pole circuit. Okay, do not let the jargon scare you. Think of a half-H driver as just a single, really powerful switch that can connect a motor terminal to either power or ground. Because the chip has 4 of these, you can pair 2 of them up. When you put 2 half-H drivers together, you create what is famously known as a full H bridge. If you visualize it in a circuit diagram, it's shaped exactly like a capital H, with the motor sitting right there in the middle crossbar. By changing which sides of the H are connected to power and ground, you can flow current through the motor in either direction. And guys, that is the magic of the H bridge.
Let's see how this logic actually builds step by step when you're sitting down to write your code. To control a motor, you first have to wake up the drivers. Step 1, you send a high logic signal to the enable pin for that specific pair of drivers. If you skip this step, absolutely nothing happens. Step 2, to drive the output forward, you set one input to high. Step 3, to reverse the direction, you just flip that input to low while flipping its partner pin. You are quite literally reversing the flow of electricity across that H-bridge using just a couple lines of code. How cool is that?
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that logic plays out. This is the official function table for each driver. If you look closely at the top 2 rows, you'll see that when enable is high, the output just simply copies whatever the input is doing. Input high, output high. Input low, output low.
Simple enough, right? But look at that bottom row. If the enable pin is low, the input becomes completely irrelevant. It's marked by an X there. The output drops into what's called a high impedance state, marked with a Z. Now, this doesn't just mean off. High impedance means the motor is essentially physically disconnected from the circuit. It's just floating. This is great because it allows the motor to coast to a natural stop rather than braking super harshly.
All right, Section 3, defining the voltage requirements. It's time to feed the brain and the brawn.
So, to make this H-bridge magic happen safely, the L293D has a very specific and honestly somewhat unique diet. It actually requires two completely different power supply lines to function. On the chip itself, you're going to see two pins labeled VCC1 and VCC2. VCC1, that's for the brain. This is the logic supply. It operates in that delicate 4.5 to 7 volt range, which makes it perfectly TTL compatible with your typical 5 volt microcontroller signals. VCC2, on the other hand, that is for the muscle. This is the output supply that goes directly out to your motors, and it can handle anywhere from the logic voltage all the way up to a massive 36 volts. So you are literally separating the weak signaling electricity from the powerful driving electricity, all inside one single package.
The really crucial point here is why they designed it this way. The datasheet explicitly states this is to minimize device power dissipation. Think about it. If the internal logic gates of the chip had to operate at the exact same 36 volts required by the motor, the chip would generate an immense amount of wasted heat just trying to process simple ones and zeros. By keeping the logic voltage low on VCC1, the L293D stays remarkably efficient. It prevents unnecessary overheating while it's still out there controlling those massive currents on VCC2. It is just incredibly smart engineering. Which brings us to Section 4, built-in safeguards and protection. Let's talk about armor for your circuit.
Even with that super efficient power separation, dealing with heavy physical loads is just a violent, electrically noisy business. Mistakes happen. Components stall out. That's exactly why the L293 isn't just a simple switch. It actually comes with built-in armor to protect your hard work. The spec sheet outlines 3 major lines of defense. First up are the output clamp diodes. When you turn off an inductive load, like a motor or a solenoid, the collapsing magnetic field creates this massive, nasty voltage spike that desperately wants to rush backwards into your circuit. These clamp diodes, they act like a shock absorber, suppressing that inductive transient so it doesn't just completely destroy your chip. Second, it features internal electrostatic discharge, or ESD, protection for safe handling. And third, it has a built-in automatic thermal shutdown feature.
Let's actually look a little closer at that last one. What happens if you push the chip way too hard and it exceeds its safe operating temperature? Well, the thermal shutdown kicks in. The datasheet dictates that in thermal shutdown mode, the output is forced into that safe, high-impedance state we talked about earlier. And it does this completely regardless of what the input levels are doing. Even if your microcontroller is stubbornly screaming at the chip to keep the motor running, the L293D is smart enough to literally sever the connection internally just to save itself from melting.
Finally, Section 5, driving your next project, bridging logic and reality.
So, we've traced the entire path today. We went from the datasheet specs, through the exact mechanics of the H-bridge, we decoded the dual voltage setup, and verified the safety nets that bridge the gap between digital logic and physical reality. So I want to leave you with this thought. Now that you hold the key to driving heavy inductive loads, and you know exactly how to safely isolate your logic board from your 36-volt power supplies and spin motors in any direction you want, what mechanical beast are you going to bring to life? Whether it's a robotic arm, an automated blind winder for your house, or a custom RC rover, the L293D is the muscle you need. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious,